Shimon Mashak Yahushua, called Yahweh by Shem Yahushua. Brother Jose coming at you again with another video through the spirit of Yahweh Yahushua. Don't count this as a light thing to do, but nevertheless, all glory and honor to Yahweh by Shimon Mashak Yahushua. Yahweh, who the word uses as the title God. Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, who the word ignorantly called Jesus Christ. But nevertheless, all glory and honor to the Most High. Coming at you again with another video. Don't count this as a light thing to do. But nevertheless, peace and blessings to the 12 tribes scattered abroad, the hope for the elect, the lost sheep, the house of Israel, so-called black, Spanish, and Native American. Peace and blessings to you, to all camps and congregations scattered across the four corners of the earth. Called Yahweh by Shimon Mashak Yahushua, Lord willing, you're enduring, forsaking the flesh and the cares of this world. Peace and blessings to all the camps and congregations, the leaders, the elders, and the land of the living in these last days, spreading forth this truth according to Yahweh by Shem Yahushua, the word, the gospel, the good news, the good tidings. Peace and blessings to those that are not in camps and congregations, finding out about this truth, finding out that the so-called black, Spanish, and Native Americans are Israelites. Peace and blessings to you, your households, the wives, the children. Peace and blessings to you as well, and those that are not married. Peace and blessings to you. Continue to present your body a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto Yahweh by Shem Yahushua, which is your reasonable service. But nevertheless, through the spirit of Yahweh by Shem Yahushua, doing a video on don't forget that you're a servant first. You know, I believe I titled this, don't forget that you're a servant first. You know, and what do you mean by first? Because a lot of times, you know, living in this society, living in the land of the living, whether you know you're Israelite or not, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, a lot of times we put ourselves first. You know, a lot of times we feel like, you know, we dealing with mental issues. You know, we say, hey, I need to work on my mental health. You know, I need to work on this. I need to work on that. Or I got to look out for me first. You know, but according to the, you know, the scriptures, according to the Most High, Yahweh by Shem Yahushua, hey, you got to look and see what Christ did, what the Messiah did. You know, was he worried about, you know, himself first, or was he worried about his Father? You know, so as we pattern ourselves and follow the Most High, follow Christ, you know, we got to look at certain things in our day-to-day lives on how we carrying ourselves and examine ourselves. You know, 2 Corinthians 13:5. So we got to understand that, hey, you know, if we call ourselves servants, if we call ourselves men of the Most High, you know, kings and princes, and women of the Most High, daughters of Zion, princesses, you know, we got to make sure that we carrying ourselves how the Most High want us to carry ourselves, you know, and not just putting ourselves first. You know, we understand that we got to take care of ourselves. We understand that we got to keep ourselves in check, build our spirit up. But hey, you know, we are called to do the will of the Most High, not our own will. You know, Proverbs 3, verse 4 and on down, you know. So let's kick it off with Luke. Let's open this floor up with the book of Luke, you know. Because you got to ask yourself, hey, when you see a lot of people, you know, even when you was in school, you may have had friends, you know, even friends of other nations, you know, they may have said, hey, you know, I gotta do what my father told me to do. You know, you may have been in school with an Edomite boy, Edomite girl, you know, very young, and they got to take over their family business, you know. So, hey, what about the so-called black, Spanish, and Native Americans? You know, we got to take over the family business as well. The lost sheep, the house of Israel. So let's go to Luke chapter 2. And let's start it off with verse 49. Luke chapter 2, starting at verse 49. I'm gonna start at verse 46. Luke chapter 2, verse 46. Now this is when Mary and Joseph, Yahweh Shah, the Messiah's parents, was looking for him. Luke chapter 2, and I'm gonna start at verse 46. And it came to pass that after 3 days they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the doctors, both hearing them and asking them questions. Verse 47, and all that heard him were astonished at his understanding and answers. And when they saw him, they were amazed. And his mother said unto him, Son, why hast thou thus dealt with us? Behold, thy father and I have sought thee sorrowing. So they was looking for him, you know. They, you know, was trying to figure out how did they how did they not manage to be able to keep up with their child, you know, and even like a parent would do nowadays, or mother and father, you know, if your child somehow kind of, you know, was in a store and you was shopping, doing grocery shopping or whatever, you know, you go down the aisle and then you know, one minute your child is with you, and then you turn the aisle, and next minute you trying to figure out where your child went. Hey, so the Messiah, hey, he was, you know, amongst other men, you know, doing the work of the Lord, spreading forth, you know, the word, reasoning with others, you know. Verse 49, Luke chapter 2, verse 49. And he said unto them, how is it that ye sought me? Wist ye not that I must be about my Father's business? And they understood not the saying which he spake unto them. And you got a lot of people now, they don't understand how things is being done. You know, they don't understand that this truth is very important. These laws, statutes, commandments is very important. You know, it's not just as Israelites speak and tell others, hey, they got to keep the laws, statutes, commandments, and they may be receiving it, and it may not be sitting well with them in their spirit and their faith, you know, and their beliefs, you know. So it may just be just a random conversation. But to the man that's striving to be the best he can be, and the woman that's striving to be the best they can be for the Lord, hey, it's a big deal. You know, it may seem like it's not a big deal, but it's a big deal. These laws, statutes, commandments, it's a big deal. You know, having faith and trusting and believing in Yahweh Shem Yahushua is a big deal. You know, so hey, you know, you gotta ask yourself: are you about your Father's business, or are you selfish? You know, because being a servant is way bigger than somebody just thinking about something, and they just thinking like, oh, you know, servant is a slave, and a servant is somebody that bow down and say yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, you know. But it is way bigger than that, you know. So let me go to Psalms. You know, you got a lot of people that carry on the family business. You got a lot of people that carry on their father's business, you know. So the so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans, hey, you know, they got a business to carry on, you know. So let me get this right quick in Psalms. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 123. You know, you can't forget that you're a servant, you know. Psalms 123, and I'm going to start at verse 2. I'm going to start at verse 1. Psalm 123, verse 1, and it reads, unto thee lift I up my eyes, O thou that dwellest in the heavens. Behold, as the eyes of servants look unto the hand of their masters. You know, so hey, even in camps and congregations still to this day, you know, you got many people that, you know, they only look at, oh, I got to do what my camp leader say, or I got to do what my elders say, you know, and they may feel like, oh, I'm not, you know, I'm not doing that, you know. Who this brother think he is? He think he King David back on the earth. This brother think he Jeremiah back on the earth. You got a lot of people that they don't want to do certain things according to, you know, how we ordered, doing things in order and decently for the ministry, for the nation, and certain congregations. They may feel like, hey, you know, it's something that's, you know, just carnal, you know, but deeply, hey, you first got to look towards the Most High, Yahweh Shem Yahushua. That's where it starts at. You know, you're not just doing this thing for your camp leader, or that, you know, that should be the foundation, the mindset. You know, you're not just doing this for this brother or this sister. Hey, you're doing this for the Most High. You know, because at the end of the day, you're a servant. You know, you are somebody that literally is showing your faith, showing how much you believe in the Lord, showing, you know, your works. You showing people that you came out of the world. You know, you don't, you know, willfully sin. You know, you're not just doing as you want to do. You know, so hey, this whole thing is set up to really magnify, glorify, and honor the Most High, Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Keep these laws, statutes, commandments. Forsake the flesh and the cares of this world. You know, abstain from all appearance of evil. You know, so let's read it one more time. Psalm chapter 123, starting at verse 2. And it reads, behold, as the eyes of servants look unto the hand of their masters, you know. So hey, you had to learn from somebody. You had to get some type of understanding from somebody, you know. And even when you was in a grade school, you know, you couldn't just go to school as your parents signed you up and you just say, well, I already know that, you know, I'm gonna just sit in the back and just ignore everybody, you know. I already know what y'all talking about, you know. No, you had to be taught, you know. So you got leaders and elders in the nation, you know, of Israel that literally, hey, they set things up, you know, and they show you the way to go, you know, according to righteousness, according to Yahweh Shem Shah, the word, you know. So reading this again, Psalms 123 and verse 2. Behold, as the eyes of servants look unto the hand of their masters, and as the eyes of a maiden unto the hand of her mistress. So even our foremothers, they had other people that was doing servitude work, you know. And even in the kingdom of heaven, it's going to be a, you know, you got people that literally take commands from you and they doing what's being told to do, you know. So if you feel like you can't do the work of the Most High now, you know, what makes you think that you're going to get in the spirit and do it in the kingdom of heaven? You know, what makes you think that you can just change at a snap of a finger and just get with the program then? You know, if you can't be a servant, you know, serve others now, you know, then there's no telling how things is going to be if you get delivered out of Babylon, if you make it past World War III, if you make it past Jacob's trouble, you know. If you feel like, oh, this person is not as mighty as I am, so I don't have to listen to what they say, you know, I don't have to do what they tell me to do. Well, first of all, you got to understand how things went down in the first Exodus. You know, who was taking orders from Moses? You know, who was Moses, you know, answering to? You know, who did Moses listen to? You know, and you had a lot of Israelites that, hey, they was rebelling against Moses. So if you feel like you're not a servant, or being a servant is beneath you, then you got to check your spirit. You got to figure out where your faith reside at and what your foundation is like. Because if you can't get with the program now, as far as serving the lost sheep, the house of Israel, loving others, giving charity to others, alms to others, breaking the word down to others, teaching others, cooking, cleaning for others, sewing for others, doing things for others in general, then, hey, the kingdom of heaven is not for you, you know. Because the kingdom of heaven, it's not going to be, you know, people just bowing down to you just because you say this or that. You got to work for that. You got to earn that, you know. The Lord is not going to give you something just because you asked for it, you know. You got to earn that. You know, you got to keep the laws, statutes, commandments in order for the Most High to be able to hear your prayers, to be able to hear and reason with you. You can't just sin and be wicked and think the Lord is going to give you everything you want. Hey, it's not like that. It's not set up like that. The Most High is not literally going to give any and everybody anything. You know, you gotta earn these things. You know, just like you go to a job and fill out a job application. You can't just walk in and say, hey, I need $500. You know, I showed up, now give me my money. You got to work for that. You know, and being a servant in the eyes of Yahweh Shem Shai, the Most High, a servant is not somebody that just, you know, just stand back and just watch, you know, and say, well, I'm taller than you, you know, give me this, or, you know, I know more than you. You know, things that are literally given to you by the Most High, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding is given for you to be able to use, you know, to be able to get his sheep in order, like a shepherd would do, like Christ would do, like Yahweh, you know, would do, you know, making sure things is set up, you know. Isn't the Most High about balance? You know, doesn't the Most High make sure we got enough sunlight? Doesn't the Most High make sure we got enough cool air, wind blowing, enough fishes in the sea, you know, enough cattle on the land to be able to sustain the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans? You know, so things isn't just set up, you know, just to be selfish, you know, and that's a prideful spirit, you know. to be selfish, to all about yourself. You know, so let's go to the book of Job. You know, this is the book of Job, chapter 2. Job chapter 2, and starting at verse 3. And it reads, I'm gonna start at verse 2. Job chapter 2, verse 2. And the Lord said unto Satan, from whence comest thou? And Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. You know, so if you have to get a clear understanding on how things is being lined up right here, Satan is doing his job. You know, Satan is the accuser. You know, Satan is, you know, for one, a spirit, you know, that the Most High has created. And that may be a little too high for a lot of people to understand, you know. But Satan, he has to serve, you know. And who is Satan serving? He's serving the Most High, you know, because the Most High is about balance. The Most High has, you know, everything in his control, you know. The Most High has everything lined up according to good and according to evil, according to righteousness and according to wickedness, you know. So Satan, he's serving the Most High. Satan is not just, you know, saying, okay, all right, Yahweh Shah, you know, it's me against y'all. No, you know, even when you go to the book of Acts, Apostle Paul, he was doing things, and these spirits was subject to, you know, understanding how Paul was doing. You know, these spirits said, Paul I know and Christ I know. You know, so they know who these spirits are and who control them, and who has the power and who doesn't. You know, who controls these spirits and who doesn't control these spirits. Let me get a quick precept right quick in Colossians. It's the book of Colossians, chapter 1. And I'm going to start at verse 14. Colossians 1 and 14. In whom we have redemption through his blood, even the forgiveness of sins, who is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of every creature. For by him were all things created that are in heaven and that are in earth, that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers. All things were created by him and for him. And he is before all things, and by him all things consist. So all things consist of the Most High. You know, all spirits that was created, you know. And it's not, you're not gonna get a account of that. You have to understand. This is why when you see scriptures in the Bible that say, you know, if you have an ear, if any man have an ear, let him hear. If you can understand, you know, certain things according to the Most High, you know, spiritual things, you know, the Most High controls all of these spirits, you know. So Satan, when we go back to Job chapter 2, Satan, being a spirit, things is in the third heavens, you know. Things in the third heavens, which is invisible, which we can't see on the earth, is set up different, you know. So the Lord said, going back to Job chapter 2 and verse 2, and the Lord said unto Satan, from whence comest thou? And Satan said, and Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. So these spirits are going, you know, all over the earth, you know, doing all type of things, you know, whether they be judgment, you know, whether they be, you know, putting all type of winds and storms over here, and whether there be shootouts over here. You know, this is literally how the Lord gets down. Let me get a quick piece up on this right quick. And Sirach. This is the book of Sirach in the Apocrypha. If you got an Apocrypha, you know. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 39 and verse 28. Sirach 39 and verse 28. And it reads, there be spirits that are created for vengeance. So even you have spirits which we know, as far as in the truth, you know, angels are doing many different things. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. Fire and hail and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. Hey, so you have many different angels, which are classified as well as spirits. You know, you have many different spirits. Hey, they do many things that is literally commanded of them to do. You know, so let me get another one. Let's go to Hebrews. This is Hebrews chapter 1, and I'm gonna start at verse 13. Hebrews chapter 1 and verse 13, and it reads, "But to which of the angels said he at any time, sit on my right hand until I make thy enemies thy footstool?" Verse 14, Hebrews 1 and 14. "Are they not all ministering spirits?" So it said, "Are they not all ministering spirits?" So a ministering is a servant, you know, literally serve to do something. Ministering spirits. Sent forth to minister, meaning sent forth to serve. Sent forth to minister for them who shall be heirs of salvation. So, hey, these angels were set up to be able to do things according to the, you know, according to doing things for the elect, you know, the 1/3, you know, literally, as we know, things was already predestined. You know, the Lord set things up before we even was formed in our mother's womb, you know. So these angels, you know, as it's talking about right here, they are set up to serve, do certain things according to how it's commanded in the third heavens for them to do, you know. So let's go back to Job. This is the book of Job chapter 2 verse 3, and it reads, "And the Lord said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job?" Hey, so the Lord called him a servant, you know. So, hey, the Israelites, the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, hey, they're servants according to the Most High, you know. And even when you go to Revelation chapter 7, hey, you're going to have a higher class that's literally inside of the 1/3, which is on a higher scale than just the regular 1/3, according to the elect. Hey, they'll be serving, you know, things with the Most High, Yahweh Shai. You know, they're going to be doing things different than the rest of the 1/3. You know, they're going to be on a higher scale. You know, let me get that right quick, just in case, you know, somebody may never read that in Revelation. You know, just a quick precept. This is Revelation. It's the book of Revelation. I'm going to start at Revelation chapter 7, and I'm going to start at the top. Revelation chapter 7 and verse 1. And it reads, "And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth." And this wind is talking about destruction. These angels are literally set up to do specific things on the earth. You know, you can read about that in Jeremiah 51. Jeremiah 51 and 1. You know, Revelation chapter 7 and verse 2. "And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God power. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea." Verse 3, saying, "Hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the service of our God power in their foreheads." You know, meaning, hey, they know who they are. You know, they've kept the law, statutes, commandments. You know, they endured. They forsook the flesh and the cares of this world. You know, they kept their minds on Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah. You know, they gave the truth to the lost sheep. You know, they did all they could according to what was commanded. Revelation chapter 7 verse 4. "And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. Of the tribe of Judah were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Asher was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Naphtali was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Manasseh were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Simeon were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Levi were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Issachar were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Zebulun were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Joseph were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Benjamin were sealed 12,000. So these 12,000 from each tribe is what you would literally understand to be the 144,000, which would be the governing class in the kingdom of heaven. You know, they would literally be set up to do specific things commanded by the Most High. You know, so understanding that, even the apostles, you know, the apostles, the 12 disciples will literally be set up to judge, you know, and to make sure, the nation is in order as well as giving instructions to the 144,000, you know, if you can understand. So let's go back to Job chapter 2, verse 3. It's the book of Job chapter 2 and verse 3. And it reads, "And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth God power and eschewed evil. And still he holdeth fast his integrity, although thou movest me against him to destroy him without cause." So the Most High said, have you considered my servant Job? You know, have you considered, you know, my servant Job? So, if you understand, let's go to the blue letter right quick and get this in the Hebrew. So, you know, we're gonna get the definition of a servant. Let me get this right quick. Servant. My servant. If it play, it might not play. See, it's not.
Strong's H 5650. Eved.
You can see it. Ebed.
Strong's H 5650. Eved.
It says slave, servant, worshipers of God, in special sense as prophets, you know. So, you know, more like a slave. You know, you bound to the Most High. You know, didn't Paul say he's a prisoner of Christ? You know, let me get that right quick. Let's get that in the book of, this is Philemon, the epistle of Paul Philemon. It's only one chapter. This is Philemon, verse 1. And it reads, "Paul, a prisoner of Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, and Timothy, our brother, unto Philemon, our dearly beloved and fellow laborer." So, Paul said he was a prisoner of Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. You know, that's nothing different than saying, he was a slave unto the Most High. You know, and a lot of people, they may take that and run to the left side with it. They say, I ain't no slave. You know, well, you owe your life to the Most High. So, you know, ain't nothing we can say about that. Ain't nothing I can say about that. Ain't nothing nobody else can say about that. You know, let me get that right quick in 1 Corinthians. We owe everything to the Most High. The Most High purchased us with his blood, his own life. You know, so if we say I do what I want, you know, I'm not serving the Lord. Well, guess what? You know, Romans chapter 6, it tells you that the wages of sin is death. You know, so if you don't serve the Lord, you're gonna die. You know, so if you serving anybody else than the Most High, it's nothing but death coming for you. You know, let me get that right quick, and then I'm gonna come back to 1 Corinthians. This is the book of Romans, chapter 6 and verse 23. Romans 6 and 23, and it reads, "For the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God's power is eternal life through Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, our Lord." So, if you serving the flesh, if you serving Satan, then, it's death. You know, but if you serving the Most High, Yahweh Shah, these laws, statutes, commandments, you know, and doing everything the Lord literally commanded you to do to the best of your utmost might, but there's nothing but, eternal life for you. But anything outside of serving the Lord is death. If you serving this society celebrating Christmas, which is paganism, it's death. If you serving this society celebrating Halloween, that's death. If you serving this society idolizing and bowing down to everything that they promote that literally doesn't have anything to do with righteousness and the Most High, it's nothing but death. So hey, who are you serving? Because we got to do what the Lord said. We can't do what man say. Man say don't judge according to the Christian church. Come as you are. And that's nothing but death. Because the Lord said we got to examine ourselves, whether we be in the faith. Is it a white Jesus or is it a Judite? According to Revelation 1:13, 14, and verse 15. Is it Caesar Borgias or is Yahweh Shai? So if you serving wickedness, it's nothing but death. You can't serve the rulers of this world. You can't serve the Rothschilds. You can't serve Joe Biden. You can't serve Bill Gates. They tell you, hey, you got to get, the poison in your in your veins, man. So you got to go to the scriptures and say, hold on now. The Lord, he died for me. I got to give my body back to him. My vessel is a temple. I can't just do what they say. I got to go to the word, see what the word say. Hey, anytime Satan try to hop up on you, hey, you got to let Satan know who you serve. Hey, I serve Yahweh. Why Yahweh Shah? Hey, I serve the living God power. Hey, I serve the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. And then a lot of people, when they get shaky and when they not rooted, grounded, and anchored, and when they not doing what they supposed to be doing, Satan come to them and they just run to the left, run to the back, run to the front, do everything else but go to the word, do everything else but go to the Most High. Christ did not serve himself. He did not worship himself. He didn't celebrate birthdays. He didn't serve himself. He served the Most High. He did literally what the Most High literally instructed him to do. Let me get that right quick. St. John. So hey, who can we look to in order to better ourselves, in order to pattern ourselves? Because you may be confused. You may be trying to figure out where, how do I become a better man? How do I become a better woman? I didn't have a father in the house. I didn't have a mother in the house. I was adopted. I kind of was abandoned. I was an abandoned child. I kind of don't understand what's going on. Hey, we got to go to the word. We got to look at the word with a reality, not with predictive programming, not how they show us in the movies, not how they show us on cartoons. We got to look at the word and literally see how the Most High literally set this thing up for the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. So this is St. John chapter 5, and I'm going to start at verse, let me see. Man, this whole thing is mighty. Let me see where I want to start at. This is St. John chapter 5, and I'm going to start at verse, I'm going to start at verse 37. St. John chapter 5 and verse 37. So like, man, I want to go up a little bit. I'm going to start at verse 28. St. John 5 and 28, and it reads, marvel not at this, for the hour is coming, in the which all that are in the graves shall hear his voice, and shall come forth, they that have done good unto the resurrection of life, and they that have done evil unto the resurrection of damnation. Verse 30, this is the point, St. John 5 and 30. I can of my own self do nothing. So this is red letter. So Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, the Prince of Peace, the Alpha and the Omega. The Alpha being the first letter according to the Greek, and the beginning of the creation. Omega, which is the last in the Greek, last letter in the Greek, which is literally he's gonna come back, and he's gonna be the one that put everything to an utmost end. Once he come back as his second coming on the earth, he literally said in St. John 5 and 30, I can of my own self do nothing. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is just, because I seek not my own will, but the will of the Father which has sent me. Hey, so this is the most famous man that ever walked the earth, that ever was created. The most mightiest man that you were ever known, according to your hearing, or your ever most utmost mightiest learning. Yahushua said, but the will of the Father which has sent me. So he let you know that he only doing what his Father told him to do. You know, he's only doing what his Father commanded him to do. So that's to show you that Christ kept the commandments. Christ, who we should look after, who we should pattern ourselves after. Didn't Yahushua, the Messiah, say, be ye perfect as your Father is perfect? Matter of fact, let me get that. It's in the same chapter. This is St. John. Salaki. I'm gonna go to Matthew. Salaki. I thought it was in John. It's in Matthew. Salaki. This is the book of Matthew, St. Matthew, chapter 5, and I'm gonna start at verse 48. Red letters again. Christ. Matthew 5 and 48, and it reads, "Be ye therefore perfect, as even as your Father which is in heaven is perfect." You know, and that's in Genesis, the 17th chapter, 2nd verse, dealing with Abraham as well. You know, the Most High told Abraham to be perfect. You know, so we gotta literally pattern ourselves after what the Lord did. You know, he literally did what his Father said to do. He didn't come down. He didn't come down to the earth, you know, to say worship me, kick his feet up, and say give me some grapes. You know, hey, go tell the Romans that I run this over here. They don't run nothing. Hey, he did what his Father said do, regardless of how hard it was, regardless of how much pain he had to endure. You know, regardless of who was saying what about him. You know, hey, even people that believe in him. You know, he still remained humble, still stayed rooted, anchored, and grounded in what his Father told him to do. You know, so hey, we got to do the same thing. So-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We got to do what our Father told us to do. You know, watch, pray, keep the law, statutes, commandments, love your brothers and your sisters. You know, honor me. You know, glorify and worship me. Honor your mother and your father. Don't eat pork. Don't eat shrimp. Don't eat crab. Don't eat lobsters. You know, keep new moon. Keep the Sabbath. You know, keep atonement. Keep tabernacles. You know, but else you got people, they saying, well, you know, we got grace and mercy. You know, scratching their head, going to the Christian church right now. You know, in the Christian church right now, don't know what's going on. You know, but they want to be where the most famous pastor is, T.D. Jakes. You know, I follow T.D. Jakes. You know, that's what they say. You know, my pastor is Joel Osteen. My pastor is this. My pastor is that. You know, my pastor got 4 churches. Got one in Texas. Got one in Maryland. Got one in Miami. You know, got one in Winston-Salem. You know, what your pastor got? You know, worshiping everything outside of the Most High, serving everything outside of the Most High. Nowhere in the Bible you say, listen to what your pastor say. If your pastor say, go against the law, statutes, commandments, you do it, and you gonna be found righteous. They don't say that. That is not in the Bible. You know, but else you got people going to these cathedrals, these man-made buildings with these man-made, made-up laws, and don't ask no questions. Put their head down. Going there with a so-called Sunday best on, you know, and sinning. And even you got a lot of these camps, you know, you got a lot of Israelites that's telling them, hey, you wrong, that's wicked, that's evil. And they say, well, you know what, and they just dip off. In the night, black smoke, gone. You don't even see them no more. They don't say nothing else. They don't want to. They don't want to conversate with you. They just go on by their day. Even though they heard that, you an Israelite. Even though we going in the Bible telling them who they are, linking everything up, answering all their questions. And then we ask them, you know, did your pastor show you this? You know, did you ever know this was in the Bible? They say no. And they say, well, you know what? My pastor is a good pastor. Which is wicked. You know, because the Lord said, follow me. You know, let's get that right quick in Matthew. You know, the Lord said, follow me. and we know he's talking to the elect, you know, and as well as the elect, he's talking to the chosen as well, the so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and he's talking to the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You know, this is Matthew chapter 4, verse 19, and it reads, "And he said unto them, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." You know, so hey, you got a duty to uphold. You got a covenant to keep. You know, you literally was set up to honor, glorify, magnify the Lord. You know, do what he said to do and live. He said, keep the commandments and live. Straight up. Plain as day. Plain upon tables. But hey, but you want to go do what you want to do. You know. So let's go to Job 42. Going back to Job. It's the book of Job, chapter 42. You know. Hey, because Job, hey, the Lord said, Job, have you considered my servant? You know. And hey, I want the Lord to call me his servant. You know, I don't want the Lord to say, you know, depart from me. I never known you. Because if the Lord never known you, you're not a servant to him. You know, I want the Lord to use me. And hopefully you want the Lord to use you. You know, in a righteous way. Not in an example of you getting put on the pedestal as the wicked. You know, this is the wicked, and watch what I do with him. And learn from him. You know, I don't want the Lord to be against me. Hey, didn't King David say, let me get this right quick in Psalms. Didn't King David say, hey, Lord, don't cast me away from your presence? This is the book of Psalms, chapter 51. And I'm going to start at 11. Psalms 51, starting at verse 11. And it reads, cast me not away from thy presence, and take not the Holy Spirit from me. So, hey, we don't want the Lord to cast us away from his presence. Hey, I want the Lord to call me his servant. You know, I want the Lord, hey, to call my wife his servant. You know, to call my children his servant. Hey, I want the Lord to call all the so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans his servant. But, hey, we understand that a lot of things is not going to be like that. We understand that a lot of people want to be wicked. We understand that people want to thrive in their own will, their own lust, their own ways, their own mind. You know, but we gotta be of the Most High. You know, we can't just say we're men of God, or you know, a woman can't just say I'm a woman of God. We gotta show, you know, that regardless of what we're going through, regardless of what's in front of us, we're gonna do what the Lord said. You know, through pain, through suffering, through trials, through tribulations. You know. Regardless of who is against us. Hey, because the Lord said, didn't the Lord say, if I'm for you, who can be against you? You know, hey, he created everything. So if he's for you, why would you fear anything that's going to be against you? You know, no thunderstorms, no tornadoes, no earthquakes. Hey, the Lord literally got you in his hand. So why would you be afraid of anything else when he created all things? You know. So let's go to Job chapter 42. Job 42, starting at verse 7. And it reads. And this is Job understanding that, hey, the Most High was questioning him, was getting up with him, asking him questions that he really didn't understand at a certain point in his life, but in the latter end, he understood. You know, this is Job 42 verse 7. And it reads. And it was so that after the Lord had spoken these words unto Job, the Lord said to Eliphaz, which is Job's fellow friends, you know, supposed to be friends, you know, so-called friends. The Lord said to Eliphaz the Temanite, my wrath is kindled against thee and against thy two friends, for ye have not spoken of me the thing that is right. So, hey, you know, you gotta see who's around you that's right. You know, regardless of what's going on, regardless if you're going through tough times, you know, that's when you know who really around you and who for you, who really love you, who really care about you, things that you're going through, you know. Hey, sometimes the Lord gonna take you through stuff to show you who for you and who not, you know. And the Lord always gonna be for you, you know, because regardless if it feel good or not, You know, he doing what a father do. You know, taking care of their children, teaching their children. You know, like a real father would do. You telling your son, hey, don't touch that stove, boy. You know, and he just won't listen. So he go to touch that stove one day, and he may say, "Oh, Daddy, why you didn't tell me? Why you didn't know? I didn't know." So now a father got to sit him down, say, "I told you, but I wanted you to see for yourself." You know, that's how the Lord is. I told you to pray. I told you to watch. I told you to fast. I told you to keep these laws, statutes, commandments. And now, when you on wits ends against straights, in a position where you can't make no left or right turn, the Lord's still there, you know, with his arms wide open, you know, saying, hey, my grace is sufficient for you. I knew you was going to fall, and now I'm here, and I still love you, you know. And then all your friends is gone because you lost your job, you lost your money, you lost your car, you lost your wife, or if you're a woman, you lost your husband. And the Lord's still there. The Lord still cares about you. The Lord's still keeping you up, you know. Still got your spirit in a position where you can still call and turn back to him. But your friends gone, you know, your family gone, you know. And you got to ask yourself, you know, in the day that evil hits the earth at an all-time high. We ain't talking about the drive-bys like we seen in Chicago. We ain't talking about the gang banging. We ain't talking about the riots that we seen. We talking about when the evils are at an all-time high. If you serving the Lord now, hey, just watch and see how he protects you in those evil days, you know. Because the Lord said, hey, if you follow me, you know, I'm gonna make sure you got food. You well sustained. You know, roughly paraphrasing, you know, James 4:8, draw nigh to the Most High, and he gonna draw nigh to you. But if you running away from the Most High, you think the Most High gonna run after you after he done gave his son up? You know, just imagine if you had a son and you say, I'm gonna give my son to everybody, you know, to all of the so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and everybody running away from your son. That's gonna hurt. You gonna feel some type of way. You know, you're going to want to get up with them. You know, you're going to want to, let them know, all right, I got something for you. You know. So, the Lord literally telling Job's friends, y'all didn't do what was right. So, I'm about to let y'all know something. So, reading on Job 42:8. And it reads, therefore, take unto you now 7 bullocks and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, and offer up for yourselves a burnt offering, and my servant Job shall pray for you. For him will I accept. So after they don't witness this man losing his children, losing his cattle, getting hit with a pestilence, after they witness all that, the Lord said, hey, y'all about to go to my servant. You know, just imagine, you've been keeping the law, statutes, commandments. You've been doing all you got to do that was written for you to do, and you about to enter into Jacob's trouble. You know, your woman, she never cared about it. You know, oh, this nigga in a coat. This Negro is in a coat. This Negro stopped celebrating Christmas. He left his family to go out there and teach that Bible. So the Lord, if you continue to endure and keep these laws, statutes, commandments, the Lord may have them go to you for answers. And they ain't gonna be nowhere. You ain't gonna be nowhere to be found, because you're gonna be on the move. You're gonna be trying to hold yourself in a better position while you waiting on the second coming of Yahweh Shah. You know, so the Lord may have other people trying to come to you for answers. But now they ain't worried about it. They in the Christian church. Now they doing what they want to do. You know, and it's how it's gonna be. You know, you serving the Lord now, and everybody else, they want to serve themselves. They want to serve false gods. They want to serve money. They want to serve cars and clothes and all of these materialistic things, Teslas, and they want to try to keep up with the Joneses. They want to, you know, keep themselves in a society where people are, you know, well pleased with them. But the hopeful elect, you know, those who are standing 10 toes down for the Most High in his business, the Lord is going to have them reserved and we're protected. Psalms 91, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. So you serving the Lord for the right reasons, you know, not for other people, as it should be, you know. So reading this again, Job 42:8. Therefore take unto you now 7 bullocks and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, and offer up for yourselves a burnt offering, and my servant Job shall pray for you. For him will I accept. So he ain't accepting nobody else. He ain't no other one of these friends, but he accepting Job. For him will I accept, least I deal with you after your folly, in that ye have not spoken of me the thing which is right, like my servant Job. You see that? Hey, so, we want the Lord to say, hey, I'm going to send you to this brother, to that brother, to this sister, to that sister, and you stay 10 toes down. You serve the Lord through thick and thin, through sickness and health, riches, your last dollar, your last meal, your last strength. You serve the Lord. So when that day come upon you, the Lord is going to hide you. He's going to protect you. He's going to guide you. He's going to speak to your spirit and say, hey, lay down. Go here. Hey, flee. Go over here. Go over there. And that's what you get when you serve the Most High. The Most High directs you in the right way to go. But those that serving all of these other guys, false guys, they're going to be confounded. They're going to be lost. They ain't going to know where to go. They ain't going to know what to say. They ain't going to know what to pray for. They ain't going to know what to ask. They just going to be lost and confounded, And we don't want to be like that. That's why we want to serve the Lord with joyfulness, with gladness, with, zeal, with a passion. We want to serve the Lord for the right reasons, not for vain glory. We don't want to do videos just to get views, just to see who's going to say what. We want to do everything we got to do to make sure we doing what was commanded of us. If the Lord give us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, hey, we giving it back to our sheep, the house of Israel. If the Lord give us a little bit more money, hey, we gonna look out for who we gotta look out for. I'm gonna look out for this brother, he doing bad. I'm gonna look out for this sister, she need help. I'm gonna look out for this congregation, they need a little bit more. I'm gonna look out for this brother, he ain't got no camp, he ain't nowhere no camp is, or no congregation, or this sister. Hey, we gonna make sure they got what they need. Let's get them some Bibles. Let's get them some fringes. Let's get them some pens, some notebooks. Hey, we serving the Lord. But people, they want to look at the flesh. You make one mistake and they say, well, they ain't nobody. They ain't no man of God. They ain't no woman of God. Moses made one mistake, and they were ready to run, said one thing, they ready to turn the shoulder. We ain't listening to him. We going back to Pharaoh. You got to be patient too. You got to have some patience. You got to have some beliefs. You can't just be ready to run when things don't go your way. So let's go to Psalms 134. This thing is about serving the Most High, not serving ourselves. So this is Psalms chapter 134, and I'm going to start at the top. Psalms 134. And it reads, behold, bless ye the Lord, all ye servants of the Lord, which by night stand in the house of the Lord Yahweh. Now, we got to be careful. We got to pause. We got to slow down. So, I'm going to read this again. This is Psalms 134 and verse 1. Behold, bless ye the Lord. So, first off, we want to get an understanding on this word bless. Because we done heard this word bless so many times in our life. We even said, hey, I'm blessed. I'm blessed and highly favored. So let's see, when we go to the Hebrew, when we go to the blue letter, the Strongs, or if you got a blue letter app, blue letter Bible app, you can go on your app. Or if you got a Strong's book, you can go in there and see for yourself as well. So let's get it right quick. Bless. So this is blessed in the Hebrew, So it says, bless ye.
Strong's H 1288.
Barak. So that, according to the Lashawan Kadash, I mean Barak. So It's going into kneel, to kneel, to be blessed, to kneel. Hey, so kneeling is a sign of servitude. So if you saying you blessed, you really saying you kneeling, you know. So are you serving the Most High? And also, are you serving his people, you know? So let me get a quick precept right quick. Let's go to Philippians. So you got to understand what certain things is going into according to the Hebrew, and if it's the so-called New Testament according to the Greek. You can't just say, well, hey, this say this, and you just run off, do a 40-yard dash or full flat, and you just got your understanding, you know. So let's go to Philippians right quick. This is the book of Philippians, chapter 2. And I'm going to start at Philippians chapter 2, and I'm going to start at verse 10. And it reads, Philippians chapter 2, verse 10. And it reads, that at the name of Yahweh Shai, and we know Jesus, according to the late 15th century, the 16th century, the letter J that wasn't invented, it didn't come about to the late 15th, 16th century. So we understand that a Jesus, as in the Lashon Kadash, Yahweh Shai, you know, our native tongue, you know, we understand that things was translated, you know. It wasn't no letter J. It was Yahweh Shai. So it said that at the name of Yahweh Shai, every knee should bow of things in heaven, the angels, 24 elders, you know, of things in heaven and things in earth and things under the earth. So, everybody supposed to be serving the Lord. Every creation, literally. That's literally what the Bible deals with. You know, everything that has breath, as you may have heard in the Christian church, everything that has breath, praise the Lord. You know, so let's read it one more time. Philippians chapter 2, verse 10. That at the name of Yahweh Shai, Jesus, as the world say, every knee should bow of things in heaven and things in earth and things under the earth. Verse 11, and that every tongue should confess that Jesus Christ, Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, is Lord, to the glory of God, power, the Father. So everybody should be serving and supposed to be serving the Most High, the creator of the heavens and earth. And it's going to come to that in the kingdom of heaven. You know, even these heathens, even the wicked nations, they are going to have to bow and serve the Lord. Literally straight up and down. We can get many precepts of that. You know, Obadiah. We can go to Numbers, the 24th chapter. You know, we can go to Nahum. You know, these nations are going to have to serve and bow down to the Most High. Even to the Israelites as well. You know, you may see a couple of them doing it here and there. You know, but we talking about everybody. You know, even the animals. You know, the animals ain't gonna be attacking the Israelites in the kingdom of heaven. You know, they gonna literally get down with the Lord's program. You know, so let's get another precept right quick. Let's go to Ephesians. You know, everything is gonna serve the Lord. Everything and everybody. You know, let's go to Ephesians chapter 3. And I'm gonna start at verse 14. This is the book of Ephesians, chapter 3, and verse 14. And it reads, for this cause I bow my knees unto the Father of our Lord Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, of whom the whole family in heaven and earth is named. So even the apostles, you know, the mighty men that the Lord has given to us via the scriptures and everything that he has given to us to learn from, they said they bow down to the Lord, man. They didn't say, well, I'm going to do my thing, you know. I put in the work. This is my book. You know, I'm going to be the one who they're going to be talking about. They did what the Lord said, you know. Literally, straight up. Let's get another precept. Let's go to Romans chapter 14. Romans chapter 14. We got to understand one thing. That it's not about us. It's not about me. It's not about me doing this video. You know. It's about the Most High. You know, this is Romans chapter 14 and verse 11. And it reads, Romans chapter 14 verse 11. For it is written, as I live, said the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Every knee shall bow to me. And we know, what we just read, bow, kneeling, bless. Every knee shall bow to me. Every tongue shall confess to God power. So, you can't get around this. You're going to have to serve the Lord. If you don't serve the Lord now, you're going to serve the Lord, by being forced. You're going to have to be forced to serve the Lord. And everything that's literally written according to the judgments that you got to deal with. You're going to have to serve the Lord. If you don't get delivered, you're going to have to serve the Lord according to the punishment and the destruction, and the damnation, that's literally going to come. Let me get one more, as I just said. Let's go to Matthew, because, I'd rather serve the Lord now, than being put to death, and I have to serve the Lord by him, literally instructing it. If you sinning, the wages of sin is death, So this is Matthew chapter 24, and let me see where I want to start at. Matthew chapter 24, and I'm going to start at this whole thing. Let me see what I want to get. Matthew 24. I'm going to start at verse 50. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 50. And it reads, the Lord of that servant shall come in a day when he looketh not for him, and in an hour that he is not aware of, and shall cut him asunder, and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites. Excuse me. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So if you think Christ is all about hugs and kisses, peaches and cream, and just hee-hees and kikis, you got to answer this. You got to figure out, well, who is going to be weeping and gnashing their teeth? Who's going to be with the hypocrites? The liars, the naysayers, the gainsayers, the antichrist, those against the Lord's work, his will, his laws, statutes, and commandments. Somebody got to answer to that, So let's go to St. John. It's the book of St. John, chapter 13, and I'm going to start at verse 5. So, this whole thing was literally set up to see how we should pattern ourselves and be able to move according to how the Lord get down. So this is St. John chapter 13, and I'm going to start at verse 5, and it reads, St. John chapter 13 verse 5. After that, he poured water into a basin. So this is going into, how Christ literally was about to go into washing feet. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel wherewith he was girded. Then cometh he to Simon Peter, and Peter said unto him, Lord, doest thou wash my feet? Yahweh answered and said unto him, what I do thou knowest not now, but thou shalt know hereafter. Peter said unto him, thou shalt never wash my feet. Yahweh answered him, if I wash thee not, thou hast no part with me. So this is not only just physical, but this is spiritual as well. Because there's many ways the Lord washed us, So let's go to St. John right quick before I continue. This is St. John. Let's go to St. John 15. This is St. John chapter 15 and verse 3. And it reads, now ye are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. So the word, the law, statutes, commandments, makes us clean. So this is what Christ was literally putting on the table for Peter to understand. He said, you may not understand it now, but you're going to understand it a little later. Let me get another one in Psalms. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 119. Psalms, chapter 119, and I'm going to start at verse, let me get it right quick, 9. Psalms 119 and verse 9, and it reads, wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way? So, how can you get yourself in a better position according to righteousness? how can you better yourself according to the ways of the Most High in the eyes of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the Creator of the heavens and earth? You know, Psalms 119 and verse 9. Wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed thereto according to thy word. You know? So hey, we going strictly to the word, to the Most High, to Christ as an example, and we following him. He said, hey, this is how I gotta carry myself. This is how I gotta serve the Lord. This is how I gotta serve my brothers and my sisters. You know? Let me get one more. Isaiah chapter 30. The book of Isaiah chapter 30. And I'm gonna start at verse, let me see, Isaiah chapter 30, and I'm gonna start at, let me see if this is what I want. Isaiah chapter 30, and I'm gonna start at verse 1. Isaiah chapter 30, starting at verse 1, and it reads, woe to the rebellious children, meaning destruction to the rebellious children, those that don't want to hearken to the Most High, those that don't want to listen to the Most High, those that don't want to listen to Moses, those that didn't want to listen to the prophets. You know, woe to the rebellious children, said the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin unto sin. You know, so hey, the Lord said, destruction to them that don't want to cover themselves with the covering that I provided. You know, so hey, that ain't what you want. You want to wash yourself with the word, with the laws, statutes, and commandments. You know, with repentance. You know, turning away from the evil and acknowledging that Christ literally was laid down for you for that sacrifice. You know, for you to continue to move in righteousness. You know, so going back to St. John 13, this is St. John chapter 13 and verse 9. St. John 13 and 9. Simon Peter said unto him, Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head. Yahushua said to him, he that is washed needed not save to wash his feet, but is clean every whit, and ye are clean, but not all. For he knew who should betray him, therefore said he, you are not all clean. So he was actually, you know, parabolic breaking things down, which they wasn't, you know, going to understand until things actually kicked off. You know, that somebody was literally set up to have things move and set for the Messiah to be sacrificed, you know, crucified. So let's go to Matthew chapter 10. You know, because this whole thing is set up to serve the Most High. Judas serving the Most High, you know, doing everything that was literally put on his spirit to do. Peter, John, you know, Timothy, Paul, you know, King David, you know, Solomon, you know, everybody was set up, man. Matthew chapter 10. The book of Matthew chapter 10, I'm going to start at verse 24. And it reads, Matthew chapter 10, verse 24. The disciple is not above his master, nor the servant above his Lord. So Peter was not above his master. And just because Peter said, nah, I don't want you to wash my feet. You know, Christ said, hold on now, I'm doing this. You know, you ain't gonna understand what I'm doing until later on, you know, because I'm sent to do a specific task, you know. So, I'm letting you know right now, I gotta do this because, I'm doing what I'm told to do, and then you gotta follow down, you know. So, reading it one more time, Matthew chapter 10, verse 24: the disciple is not above his master, nor the servant above his Lord. It is enough for the disciple that he be as his master and the servant as his Lord. If they have called the master of the house Beelzebub, how much more shall they call them of this household? You know, and Beelzebub, literally, when you go into the understanding of that, the Greek, it literally means Lord of the house. as well as expounding on, you know, a evil spirit. You know, so it's saying, hey, if the evil spirits, you know, is literally called Lord of this house, how much more of this house, you know, according to the righteous, they're led, you know. So let's go to Psalms right quick. Psalms 143. Psalms chapter 143. And it reads, Psalms 143, and I'm going to start at verse 12. Psalms 143, and I'm going to start at verse 12. And it reads, and of thy mercy cut off my enemies, and destroy all them that afflict my soul, for I am thy servant. You see that? Hey, so many times King David had a prayer asking the Lord to protect him, restore him, you know, quicken him, you know, make him to understand, have mercy on him. You know, many Psalms, you know. He said, I am thy servant, you know. And this was a man that was found righteous in the eyes of the Most High. So it's many Bible verses, many precepts that we can go to that show us. And many times that you will see in Psalms that he said, I am your servant, you know, thy servant David, you know. So, hey, we can look at that as an example, you know. So let me get this in Apocrypha. So, right. Ecclesiasticus chapter 33. And I'm going to start at verse 17. Ecclesiasticus chapter 33, verse 17. Sirach chapter 33, verse 17. And it reads, consider that I labor not for myself only, but for all them that seek learning. You know, so this is what a servant does. You know, let's read it one more time. Sirach 33 and 17. Consider that I labored not for myself only, but for all them that seek learning. You know, so hey, we not just laboring, you know, for ourselves, you know, to try to be some utmost famous person in the nation. You know, we don't care about that, you know, as we should. We shouldn't care about that. We shouldn't care about that at all. We should only care about doing the Most High's will, keeping these laws, statutes, commandments, magnifying and reverencing and glorifying Yahweh Shem Yahushua, loving our brothers and our sisters, you know. So, hey, as I said, hey, I don't labor for myself only, but for all of them that seek learning, letting us know that, hey, this thing is about serving, you know, helping others, praying for others, you know, checking on others, you know, giving our time to others. So this is what it's about, man. So let's go to 2 Timothy. It's the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 2. Get another precept right quick. 2 Timothy, chapter 2. And I'm going to start at verse 10. 2 Timothy, chapter 2, start at verse 10. And it reads, therefore I endure all things for the elect's sake, that they may also obtain the salvation which is in Hamashiach Yahushua with eternal glory. You know? So, hey, it's letting us know in this epistle that, hey, we enduring all of the trials and tribulations, you know, to make sure for many, hey, it could be double fold, to make sure we are that example. We let our light shine. We glorify, honor, and reverence and magnify the Most High. You know, we make these laws, statutes, commandments known. We put all of this on a pedestal, you know, and we endure everything that it is for us to endure for the Most High's elect, you know. So, hey, this is what it's about, man. It's about servitude, you know. So, let me get a couple more, Lord willing. This is, let's go to Luke. It's the book of Luke, chapter 12. It's the book of Luke, chapter 12. And I'm going to start at verse, let's see if I want to start at, this is the book of Luke, chapter 12. And I'm going to start at verse 35. And it reads, take heed, therefore, that the light which is in thee be not darkness. If thy whole body, therefore, be full of light, having no part dark, the whole shall be full of light. as when the bright shining of a candle doeth give thee light. Verse 37. And as he spake, a certain Pharisee besought him to dine with him. And he went in and sat down to meat. And when the Pharisee saw it, he marveled that he had not first washed before dinner. And the Lord said unto him, Now do ye Pharisees make clean the outside of the cup of ravening and wickedness? Ye fools, Salaki. I'm in the wrong chapter, Salaki. I thought I was in 12. That's not what I want. Hey, but that's mighty though. You know, you got to show forth your light. You know, be that example. But nevertheless, this is what I wanted. My mistake. So like this Luke chapter 12, starting at verse 35. And it reads. Luke chapter 12 and verse 35. Let your loins be girded about and your lights burning. You know, so hey, this is you know, something that we should literally take heed to. You know, literally in the old days, you know, when they would have the saying of let your loins be girded, you know, they would literally grab and kind of make sure that when they was on the move, they wouldn't stumble over anything according to their garments, or make sure nothing was hindering them from moving. You know, that's what having your loins girded goes into. Also on a spiritual scale too, you also can look at it as far as, you know, having your mind right. You know, Luke chapter 12 and verse 35, and it reads, let your loins be girded about and your lights burning. So you want to make sure you're in the spirit. You want to make sure you're always constantly keeping your mind on the Lord, keeping your mind on the law, statutes, commandments, making sure everything around you is decent and in order, and doing things predicated upon doing what's commanded, you know, from the Most High. Luke chapter 12 and 36, and it reads, and ye yourselves like unto men that wait for their Lord, when he will return from the wedding, that when he cometh and knocketh, they may open unto him immediately. Verse 37, blessed are those servants whom the Lord when he cometh shall find watching. Verily I say unto you, that he shall gird himself and make them to sit down to meat, and will come forth and serve them. And if he shall come in the second watch, or come in the third watch, and find them so, blessed are those servants. So hey, you want to make sure you're moving and you're doing things to continue to be doing something for the Lord, because we don't know when he coming. You know, this is why it's important for me to make sure I'm doing, you know, things that can profit me, you know, in the second coming of our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shem Shah. Verse 39, Luke chapter 12, verse 39. And this know, that if the good man of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched and not have suffered his house to be broken through. Be ye therefore ready also, for the Son of Man cometh at an hour when he think not. Hey, so hey, you got to make sure you're ready. You know, as the word literally goes into, you know, making sure that hey, if you stand ready, you ain't got to get ready. You know, you always on a watch. You always constantly making sure you're in the spirit. You know, you checking your spirit. You're fasting. You know, if you falling short, you repenting. You know, asking the Most High, renewing your righteous and clean spirit. You're making sure that you're walking on eggshells, and you're not just making moves or moving without, you know, doing things according to the word. Reading on, Luke chapter 12, verse 41. Then Peter said unto him, Lord, speakest thou this parable unto us, or even to all? And the Lord said, who then is that faithful and wise servant? Salaki. Who then is that faithful and wise steward, whom his Lord shall make ruler over his household, to give them their portion of meat in due season? Blessed is that servant whom his Lord when he cometh shall find so doing. Of a truth I say to you, that he will make him ruler over all that he had. But if that servant say in his heart, my Lord delayed his coming, and shall begin to beat the men servants and maidens, and to eat and drink and to be drunken, the Lord of that servant will come in a day when he looketh not for him, and at an hour when he is not aware, and will cut him in sunder, and will appoint him his portion with the unbelievers. You know, so hey, just imagine if you literally was given was in subjection and calling the shots on a job or on some type of in some type of company, and the owner never really popped up and checked, make sure y'all was doing what y'all was supposed to be doing, but all of a sudden he just popped up out of nowhere, and the company is not doing what they supposed to be doing, not running how it's supposed to be running. Hey, it's a lot. It's out. So this is what it's talking about. We got to make sure that just because we feel like the Lord's not coming, he's it's kind of taking his time, kind of slowly approaching. Hey, you don't want to have that mindset, because soon as you take your foot off the gas, soon as you sit down and kick your feet up, boom, it's gonna pop off, and you wasn't ready, So you don't want that through the Spirit. Let me get down to. I'm gonna jump down to. I'm gonna kind of go down. I'm gonna get this quick precept right quick. I'm gonna get this quick precept in verse 48. This is Luke chapter 12 and verse 48. Lord willing, we can get one more. Kind of wind down. Luke chapter 12 verse 48, and it reads, "But he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required, and to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more." So it says, Luke chapter 12 verse 48. Let's read it one more time. "But he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes." So if they, a lot of people say, they didn't know about this truth, they can't say that, because the Lord is gonna make sure you're aware of these laws, statutes, commandments. Make sure you're aware of your errors. He's gonna make sure that you get your stripes, you get your whips, and we'll cut him in sunder. So like Luke chapter 12 verse 48, "But he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required, and to whom men have committed." So the Lord may have given you a lot to be able to serve others. So the more that the Lord has given you, whether they be law, statutes, commandments, whether they be riches to support and give back, the Lord may have given you much, and it's much required from you, so you have to understand that on a scale of serving as well through the Spirit of Yahweh. So let me get one more. Lord willing. This is let me see where I want to start at. This is Revelation chapter 21. I'm going to start at verse 6. Revelation chapter 21, verse 6. And it reads, "And he said unto me, It is done. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give unto him that is athirst of the fountain of the water of life freely. He that overcometh shall inherit all things, and I will be his God, power, and he shall be my son. But the fearful and unbelieving, and the abominable, and murderers, and whoremongers, and sorcerers, and idolaters, and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death." So check that out, man. You don't want to get jammed up when the Lord come back because you didn't want to serve him. So let me get this last precept. This is Isaiah chapter 26. And I'm going to start at verse 3. Isaiah chapter 26, starting at verse 3, it reads, "Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee." It didn't say it didn't say might. It didn't say, well, Lord, is going to decide in the end. It said, thou will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusted in thee. Hey, so part of your servitude is trusting in the Lord. A part of you serving the Lord is trusting in the Lord as well. You know, through the spirit of power. That's my last precept. Lord willing, this was edifying to you. I don't count this as a light thing to do. All glory and honor to Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shah. Call la Yahweh by Shem Mashak Yahweh Shah. Lord willing, this was edifying. Peace and blessing to you. Fisherman of Zion, Brother Jose, coming at you again through the spirit of power by Shem Yahweh Shah. Call la Yahweh by Shem Mashak Yahweh Shah. Peace and blessings. Kwam Yahshua. Shalom.